You are now listening to or watching the It Takes All Kinds podcast.
Yeah, and if you aren't, you can head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and listen to us now. Or head on over to Drib on YouTube and watch the video version as well.
And if you'd like to stay up to date on when we're releasing a new episode or any other fun information about the podcast, you can give us a follow on Instagram at It Takes All Kinds Podcast and on Twitter at ITAC Podcast. That's ITAK Podcast.
Without saying much else, we hope you enjoy this episode.
Obama.
Hello.
Hey, I know you.
I know you.
I think I talk to you like every week.
On the show called It Takes All Kinds, episode 92. We're recording this on Monday, December 5th. We just got done talking to the lovely Skinner, artist extraordinaire.
The Skin Man himself, Gavin.
You'll be hearing this on Friday, December 9th. And I'm speechless. That was a really good. I had a really good time with Spinner.
It was such a good time.
Skinner.
With Spinner.
With Spinner.
That's his new name.
Yeah, it's Spinner.
That's his ballerina company.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that was, we said many times after we got done, which was only minutes
ago,
how much we love that and how much fun it was, and it was just such a treat. Skinner is such a
lot of fun.
A national treasure. No, really, he truly is.
He knows a lot of people, as we find out in this interview.
He does, Gavin. He certainly does. We loved all the name drops, dude. I love when people name drop. That's not even like sarcasm. I feel like people are always like a little sensitive about being like, I don't want to sound too name droppy. I'm like, drop them. Just drip me out with your names.
You wear like medals on your arms.
I do, with little spikes in it, so I can get all the names.
Yeah.
So if you somehow don't know, which I'm assuming if you're coming here to listen to this or watch this, you know who Skinner is. But if you don't, Skinner is an extremely talented psychedelic nightmare artist from Oakland, California, or where he lives currently, who has worked with the likes of bands such as Mastodon, Melvins, High on Fire, done commercial work for Adult Swim and Santa Cruz Skateboards, and also recently released his own horror comic titled Skin Crawl, and also worked with Quentin Tarantino, technically. We'll get to that later. But this guy, despite his extensive backlog of people he has worked with and is currently working with,
still very down to earth, still very humble,
super down to
awesome
earth, amazing artist. Could not be happier to have him on this show, and he just the sweetest dude ever.
Yeah.
Even though he thinks we're sweethearts, he's the real sweetheart.
He's a real sweetheart.
Gavin, anything else from you, or should we just jump?
Right into it.
Jump right into it. So without further ado, here is
the Skinner.
Skinner. Well, to jump right into it, Skinner, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I appreciate all the nice words that were not recorded, so we'll pretend like they were there. But I appreciate that.
You guys are wonderful. And
well, thank you.
And well, what I said was, and I stand by this, is that
he's not reading a script.
My inbox is inundated with requests to be on podcasts, and I go on and I look at them. I go, no, I can't do this. I can't do any of this stuff. But then I look at you guys' podcasts, and I look at you, and I go, I want to be friends with these guys. So I did it. So it was funny is because I mentioned to you, I was like, hey, let me be on your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were like, okay, we'll reach out to you. And I was like, damn, I hope it's okay.
I didn't know. I didn't mean to come off that hesitant.
No,
I was psyched.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Stoked.
You didn't. Okay. But I'm just saying that I feel like it was more like you guys seem really sweet and like very kind, like good, benevolent people. And so, and I am a kind of cantankerous and stuff. So I'm always trying to be aware of like how I know that there are people who are like more thick skinned in this world. And so I don't worry about it, but I'm like, you guys are like sweetie pies and shit. So I was like, well, I don't want these guys to think I'm like trying to come at them like brutal, forceful brutality.
That'd be fine with me.
You
I'll
want forceful brutality.
I mean, I'll take that from people because you know, like you said, I'm a sweetie pie. I'll take it.
Yeah, I
And I'm
know.
not
You
like,
guys so sweet.
oh well, thank you.
Thank you.
But I'm not like, I'm not gonna be the one to be like super. Like, I'll reach out to people and do stuff like that. But it takes a lot to where it's like, I like when people like you are like, you know, whether
Well, it does
doesn't matter
help
what
if
it
you're the
is.
producer. Like, you know, I will say this, like, I was doing a Patreon thing for a little while, for just kind of like for fun. And I was like, oh, this will be cool. I'll interview a bunch of artists that I think are cool that like nobody sees that much. And maybe
Right.
this will, you know, and it was cool, but it was like, it's kind of hectic to plan interviews and stuff. And so sometimes I'm just like, I message somebody, I go, hey, what are you doing at noon? You know,
Right.
like, oh, nothing. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna interview you. Get ready.
Nice.
And then I'm sending you the link,
Right.
you know, and I try to make it fun, but it is like very interesting to try to run a podcast and like, I don't know, you know, like it's one of those things where you listen to podcasts, you're like, man, everything's so seamless. The flow, the timing, the jokes, they're so great. And I'm just like, man, if I get like a bad guest or something, that's gonna suck, you know, because it's just like, yeah, it's just brutal. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, holy shit, man, no, they're not saying nothing.
Right. That's why I mean, like 90% of our show is just Gavin and I. And we'll get guests on, but like I say we're picky and choosy, but that's also probably just because we limit ourselves on like being too nervous to reach out to people sometimes. But like,
I do get nervous as well.
Right.
It's
the
anticipatory anxiety.
Well, like Carson's talked to a couple bands, and I like he's like, oh, you know, like he had pondered like talking to them a couple times, and whenever he'd say it, you had said something like, oh yeah, like I'll message them, or you know, I messaged him today. I'm like, you actually messaged them?
Right.
I'm like, what?
And then they didn't respond to me, but
that's
that happens.
It's like
they don't respond, huh?
Yeah, there was one band who I'm friends with. I also sell vintage clothes. That's another one of my
cool
5 different jobs I have. But I sell to this band, and I like reached out to them. I was like, hey, you know, I have this podcast going. Like, would love to have you guys on. Reached out to 2 of them, and they just like, I wouldn't say they ghosted me, but they didn't get back to me.
They were busy,
right? And I took no offense to it, but like that's
people
the worst.
In bands, though, it's also
Right.
also a crapshoot. I'm telling you.
Well, like we were in band together, and like
marching
band. We were
Yeah.
a marching band together, in high
geeks.
school. But like,
you
but
guys were
dealing
marching
with
band together.
Dealing with musicians is like a thing. And I grew up around music, like that.
Right.
Like
You did.
my mom works at a music store. Like I grew up around music, and like working with musicians is like a thing.
Right.
They're notoriously hard to work with.
But also, you know, kids in high school who don't really want to be in marching band is a whole different
I
thing.
love
than
doing
actual
marching band.
musicians.
That was awesome.
But like, yeah, but I know what you're saying.
What did you play in the marching band?
I played saxophone. I played tenor saxophone.
I was in the
Pit.
what's known as the Pit. I didn't march. I played the marimba, mostly, predominantly.
Wait, what's that?
Like a big xylophone, wood xylophone.
You know what a xylophone is? Like,
yeah,
it's like a xylophone, but it's all wood. It's really big. I don't know how
Huge.
many octaves are on it.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
So we got a little Lisa Simpson action going here.
Yeah.
Wow, saxophone.
Yeah.
Do you play?
So do you wait? What?
I was gonna say, did you play any instruments? Do you?
Oh
play
yeah,
instruments?
guitar and
Nice.
stuff. Sang. I was in some rock and roll type bands
Nice.
and heavy metal, thrash metal bands.
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, stuff like that. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was cool. But I think that like being in band is really interesting. I have a lot of admiration for the fact that you guys cared enough about anything as youths to try to participate in like a regimented situation like that. That's so cool.
It was a pretty relaxed marching band.
I was all
compared to other
jacked up
bands,
on
but-
brown weed, man.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't forced into it, but I was like, I don't know. I did it kind of reluctantly, and then I did end up getting into it. But it was a lot to do.
Yeah, I didn't realize like how much it was, but then like it was like a everyday rehearse. Some weeks it'd be every day.
Right.
Like where we'd have like a football game Friday and then like all day marching band the next day. off
How
Sunday,
weird?
Sun-
What's the
Monday.
feeling of playing at those football games though? Is it weird? Is it like
That was fun
strange?
for me. I liked doing it, but that was because I played saxophone. And I like had a couple friends around me that would like that was
Yeah.
fun. I enjoyed it.
But,
I
like-
watched the game too, and we sucked, but like it was still
Right.
fun.
But even more than that, like I think maybe what you were getting at, Skinner, is that it's like our high school was actually like as like, you know, the jocks and like the cool people sitting in the stands, like they were really receptive to us playing.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Like
And they cheer us on and stuff
yeah,
like that.
sometimes they would ignore us, but
Yeah.
then like we would always usually do a cool marching show, so then
Yeah.
they would get into it and like actually pay attention to us. But
Yeah.
surprisingly,
Would you play your wooden xylophone
Uh-huh.
at the games?
Yeah, yeah. So
Were
there's
you responsible for hauling that around?
yeah, but I didn't have to march with it. We were like we were in the front on the football
Front center.
field, and we were like stationary during the
How
performance.
cool would that be though if Gavin had a harness with like a little like trailer behind him and that
Pulling
you
me.
were sitting there and you guys were like the friends like playing
There
like you were
were
behind him and he'd pull you around.
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, there were shows like that we saw where sometimes they would move the marimbas like from
Oh, I
one
didn't know
side of the
that.
field to the other, like move the pit from like one
Hey,
like
let
front
me
to
ask
back.
you,
Yeah, nothing
when
huge.
did you guys first meet?
Kindergarten?
Kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like
You
5.
guys have been friends since kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We diverged paths a little bit, and then like in middle school, and then we came back together in high school,
Mhm.
and you know. But he's like I feel he's a lot cooler than me. I feel like he was someone that you were someone that I was like envious of. I was
Oh.
like, this guy's got good style and stuff like that.
I'll take
I
it.
didn't have anything like that. I was just like, oh, you know,
Wait,
I'm
you
a
mean
theater-
style like kind of like yeah, because he's
Doing
got
vintage
kind of
clothes, yeah.
He's got cool hair. He's got an AFI sweater on.
Thank
right.
you.
Is
Thank
that
you.
what you mean? He's got kind of like a little bit of cultural cachet going
Yeah.
with his
For sure.
Cool,
Like
yeah,
that was something I
style.
completely lacked. I didn't have any cool style.
That's
You know, I didn't have any. Like I got into like sneakers and stuff with Carson, not for Carson, but you know I did it for myself.
Right.
But it's like it was something that I could use to connect better with him as well. So it was
Yeah.
like, for example, I send him sneaker news all the time.
But what you have is you were able to transcend the social hierarchies by not participating, right? Like so you were
Yeah.
the ultimate cool guy outside of that.
I will say I feel like I didn't have.
Whereas
an
Carson
actual
was
friend
the
group.
part of it, a little bit cool, but you
Eh.
didn't have to like really,
If
didn't-
you knew me in high
Wait,
school,
so
I
you
wasn't
didn't
that
have-
cool. I wasn't that cool. Gavin's
Let me
saying
ask
I
you a
was
question.
more than that though.
Was there ever a situation where one of you guys had like the bully was gonna fight you and then the other one came and helped or something like that?
Nah,
No,
I don't think so.
not with each other.
No.
I don't think I ever. I don't.
There wasn't really that much conflict
Yeah.
in our high school. I don't know what it was, but I think a lot of people.
Alright.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, we were small too. We didn't have like.
so wait,
we didn't
so
have a
there
lot
was
of
never
people.
any. Tell me a crazy story that happened to you guys in crazy school style. Something that happened in school. What? Something crazy.
I don't even know.
Your Volkswagen Bug caught on fire or something. What happened? What happened?
I don't-
Saxophone.
No,
Somebody
that's
tried
the
to-
thing. Like there were. That's what I mean is that there really wasn't like too much.
There's like weird things that we would hear about, but as far
Yeah.
as like seeing something, you know, like occasional
One of you guys
fights
drank
or
too
something.
much milk and then you had to hold your butt cheeks shut or something.
I don't think that ever
And then
happened.
the other one helped you because you had the one of you guys had to duct tape his butt cheeks and then
No.
Right. I mean, that was
Dude,
just like that was a regular.
Yeah,
occurrence
that
for
happened
us.
every day for Carson, so it just
It's
became like a
every
normal
day.
thing.
It was normal.
Yeah.
It wasn't that
That was
crazy.
an everyday thing. Okay.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I'm just wondering because you guys are well, I guess in a way. Do you mind if I ask you how old you
No,
are?
that's fine.
I just turned 23.
And I'm 22.
Okay, so your high school experience is a lot different than mine, I think, where
Right.
like I feel like everything is a little I don't know, a little less Wild West or something like that. I don't
Right.
know. I'm
Yeah.
44
44.
and
okay.
I'm not trying to say it's like dude, back in my day, man, shit's crazy, bro.
Right.
The kids have it so easy these days.
But I do kind of feel like if you want to have like sort of a normal like I don't know, it's like kind of weird. It's like I think that kids were just so gnarly and like isolated and alienated and fucking angry and atomized and weird and shit that we'd all pick on each other and be weird to each other. Whereas now I just kind of feel like it's more like, I don't know, kids seem more conscious now or something, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's still
there's still a little bit of that.
Oh yeah,
where,
for sure.
I think social media played a little bit of part in that. Is that it's like, oh yeah, I saw you in the hallway, I'm going to follow you on Instagram. Oh yeah, I saw you made a funny tweet that went kind of out on the high school. I'll follow you, or you know, like
a lot of impersonal.
Yeah, it was just like
stuff.
It wasn't like I knew everybody, but everybody was like, oh yeah, I'll follow you, or you know, it wasn't. There was no like, oh yeah, this person's got like 50,000 followers. We can't talk to them. We don't have the followers for that, or you know, we don't have like that social hierarchy as much.
Right.
Especially our high school was actually pretty small though. Like for what it was, like it really wasn't that big.
Right.
Maybe like 200 people.
Where at? What high school?
St. Charles High School
in Missouri.
Right
outside St. Louis.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
and this is in some Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
No, that's not. Is it kind of? I don't know.
It's a little. It was a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
But,
well, you know what's interesting is I feel like, thank God I didn't have social media when I was in high school. You're talking freaking cringe stock, dude.
Oh no, that was one thing that before I went to college, I cleared out everything that anybody could ever bully me on ever or ask me about. I didn't want to be questioned on things. I cleared out a lot of my like Instagram posts and like a lot of my I think it was mainly my Instagram posts. I was just like, you know, I'll tone it back a little bit on a couple of these posts. You know, like I'll edit some.
I wonder what you were posting though. You know,
it was like just pictures of things. Like it was just like what Instagram was in the early 2010s, like 2013, 2014. It was like pictures of trees and stuff like that. And I was like, okay,
that's what you can't make fun of that, dude.
No,
it's a little self-conscious. Which is okay.
Yeah,
dude,
it's all right.
How about this? Just a picture of you in your underwear with your saxophone. Just like might fuck around and just rage all night on my saxophone.
You did post a lot of stuff like that.
I did. I posted a lot of stuff like that.
You know what's so interesting though is that like I was thinking about this. So I've been together with my wife, but we've been together for like 19 years, right? Totally awesome.
That's
almost as old as you little fuckers.
I wasn't gonna say it,
but like one thing that's kind of crazy is that I remember where like, you know, so this is in Sacramento, California, which is not you know, it's the capital of California, but it's not rocking. Okay,
right? Is that where you grew up too? Did you grow up in Sacramento?
What'd you say?
Is that where you grew up in Sacramento?
No, up in an even smaller white person town called Auburn, California.
Okay.
Auburn. So anyway, it's not as cool as.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, we'll get to that. Anyway, so but like, so like, you know, I had a crush on her. I was like, oh, I really like her, you know. And dude, I didn't even have a cell phone, bro. I had a telephone with an answering machine
with a tape hooked up to it.
So I'd get home from my job when I was like, whatever, 23, 20, you know, check my answering machine message. And you would just get a message and be like, hey, we're going to have practice at 5, just whatever. You know, I'd leave messages on each other's answering machine. It was fucking insane. It was prehistoric. Anyway, but I'd be like, oh, I know that there's this bar, this bar, this bar. And then I would go, if you had a crush on a girl, you'd be like, okay, what kind of music does she like or whatever? Oh, I saw her at this show. I know she's friends with these freaking D-bags over here.
Right.
And then you go, oh, okay, so I'm going to try to show up at a place I know where she's at. But if you do that nowadays, so and that's fine. That was normal. I'd be like, oh,
that was the thing to do.
Crazy running into you here at the weird bar where the band is playing, you know. And it's like, oh, cool, you know. And anyway, if you do that now, it's kind of like, well, you knew I was here because I posted it online. You're a creepy stalker or something.
Yeah. It is like you're like, oh, okay, that's
it's like
you know,
it's like I kind of feel like there's so many interesting like social, like small, subtle social, I don't know, norms that have shifted and changed that I only think about now because somebody's like, I don't know, say if I know somebody who's like 40 and they're like, oh, I'm on Tinder or something. And I'm like, dude, what's that like? That sounds insane. And it's like, but it's like totally normal to everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm like, tell Grandpa Skin about your adventure. Man.
Right.
And they're just like, oh, it's just like a lot of disappointment. Like it sucks or whatever. I'm like, it sounds fun. Like it sounds crazy. You're just like, you go, hey, want to go on a date to a complete stranger online? Back in my day, you just have to guess what fucking rundown ass bar she'd be at.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Or what music they could be playing at the bar or anything like that.
Yeah. I know she likes this band. I know she's like, there's a party.
Right.
I know it's a party that's gonna happen. I bet you she'll go.
Mm-hmm.
And then if she's not there, you're just like, all right, whatever. I guess I'll just fucking get turned.
Yeah.
Try again next week.
Did you guys ever get turned up at the parties?
I did. Well, actually, I DD'd for most parties. That's how cool I was.
Right.
Let's put it that way. I
I-
DD'd for a lot of people. I did not drink in high school.
I
did a couple
did.
times.
You're winning a big place in my heart, though, brother.
I just remember like New Year's Eve had like big parties, like,
Right.
big blowout parties, and then there like a couple years ago I was over at Carson's for New Year's, and
After high school.
After high school, this
Yeah.
is after high school, and I had like a whole bottle of wine and like 2 tall boys,
Yeah.
and that night did not end well.
Right.
Oh no, I can already tell you were spraying out the nose.
Oh,
homie.
he was.
Your mustache was just.
No, I didn't have
popping
a
up.
mustache then. I didn't have a mustache then.
was clean
Okay.
white.
I was clean. I was clean.
But
Oh yeah, I could see you just fire hydrant style
yeah.
out your nose, dude.
It was
Oh.
that was yeah. I
it
don't
was
think
so gross.
I don't think I've
a bottle of wine
Yeah.
and 2 tall boys.
yeah.
Mhm.
It was a mistake. It was a mistake on many levels, but I
Right.
was like, it's I'm 21. I can buy stuff now, so
Mhm.
might as
I
well.
love it, dude. I wish I could have been there.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a really slow night. Other than that, it
Yeah.
was very.
It was just the two of us hanging
yeah,
out and
we were
drinking
Just,
because
we
it
were
was
just drinking.
it was still
When
like
you
COVID
when you were the
times.
designated driver, like what would you do to try to have fun while everybody's getting all hammered?
Just listen to music, enjoy my time, talk to friends while they're drunk, or it was like, it wasn't like I wasn't like constantly watching the time, but it was like all I knew is that once midnight hit, that's wherever you got to start getting people out the door, because like at the parties it was like shit started to hit the fan at like midnight. It was like, okay, party started at 10. We're kind of it's really hot in the basement. It's really hot. And then it was like, okay, everybody's drinking a little bit. But then it was like, all right, some people were kind of itching to go home. Sometimes I did like a taxi service,
Right.
where like I drop people off and be like, okay, who else needs to go home? Like I'll just take you
Right.
home.
And Gavin,
Oh,
I
man.
mean no
an
disrespect
angel.
by this, but you in high school were the definition of nice guys finish last.
Oh yeah,
Because you're always the nicest guy, but like you never like,
I didn't
I
didn't really pursue anybody
Right.
like that, honestly.
and you never, you'd always be the nice guy. You never expected anything from it, but
No.
you were always like,
Because
I
like
always
if I
felt
was
you,
drunk,
like-
I would expect someone to take me home.
Right.
You know what I mean?
right. And
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
even,
show up to a party without a plan.
Dude.
Say what?
Dude, if I got drunk, I was like, dude, whatever. I don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe I'll make it home. I don't know. But I used to get, because it was annoying to go home, I would sleep down at the river.
what?
On these rocks. You just wake up and like, all right, I'm going to school now. They're like, you're wearing the same clothes as yesterday. I'm like,
Oh my
so?
god. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
What? California is
Dude.
crazy, man. It's like
I'm telling you, they were different times, brother.
That's yeah.
We would take acid all the time.
Right.
I'd take acid at school, shit like this, all this stuff. But I got straight A's. It was like easy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not always straight A's. Math, I struggled with math.
Mm.
Well, let me ask you. I hope it's okay. I'm just continuing to ask you guys.
No.
oh
questions.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, you can ask me questions, but
We'll get there. We got
Yeah,
some questions.
okay. So, what do you feel like in your advent? Now, here's the other thing I want to just say before I ask this question. You guys are young. You have your whole lives ahead of you. anything. You could do anything you fucking want. I'm so excited for you guys. It's so cool. So, like the whole term of like nice guys finish last, and you're like, yeah, maybe there was some things I wished I would have pursued or done or whatever. Like, is there anything that you wished you would have done differently, but that you had chosen to be this like sort of benevolent helper person?
You answer that.
Yeah, I guess I don't think I never like regretted it, but I was thinking like if maybe I had played baseball instead, because I played baseball up until high school. I think about that a lot, where it's like, what would have happened then? Like would I have been the same person, or would I have
had the same friends?
Would I had the same friends, or would I have even pursued the same careers? Kind of like same choices, like even in like the short in my short 23-year life, it really does feel. I mean, like I could probably go through every year of my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
well, why did you stop playing baseball?
For theater. I wanted to do theater, and we had a couple. I have a brother and sister, and then we had a couple next door neighbors. Or we had a next door neighbor who also had 3 children that were like our age, like range. So like we would make home videos and like goofy, skits and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I have to see these.
No, they're horrible. Like we have them burned to a CD. We haven't burned the DVDs, but like we'll have to.
Yeah, these are going on YouTube.
Yeah, though they were for a long time. They were for a long time, but
and then what happened? You forced them to take them down?
Our neighbor was like a year ahead of us, a year ahead of me. And he was kind of like the boss or like the overseer of like all this stuff. And he was the one that we burned, that I would ask him to burn the DVDs of. And I think because he got into like high school before me and middle school before me. So it was like, I think he was concerned about getting flack from that, or like having like the internet blackmail of having like, cringy childhood video that happened, 15 years ago. You know what I mean? So like like that kind of.
Wait, are we talking? You guys were having sex videos?
No, that's what I mean. No, that's why. I was trying to avoid that,
Gavin.
but I was trying to avoid the term.
Yeah, come on, what are you saying?
No, I'm saying like
Gavin.
funny like movies. We created mini movies.
Right.
Like we create like we had a plot. We'd go into a plot, or we would just create. Like it was very like improv. It was very, and that was something that I stopped for a long time. Not for baseball, but it was just like I stopped it. Like we stopped hanging out with them, and it was just you just fall out with people, especially.
Yeah, I know it gets weird after sex.
Yeah, for sure.
No. Okay, I'm just kidding. Anyways, I know that's really bad jokes, but listen, did you do? You did theater?
Yeah, I did theater and band in high school. And
what theater stuff did you do?
We did.
What did you do?
I did Arsenic and Old Lace. That's
but
like
you were an actor.
Yeah, I was an actor. Yeah, I acted.
School play.
Yeah, school play.
And you did. And Conrad, you didn't go. Wait, your name is Conrad.
Carson. You're close. That's close enough.
Why did I call you Conrad?
I'll take it. I get all kinds of names, so I'll take anything.
So Cornelius, did you go to his fucking?
I actually did sound design for all the plays. So I wasn't like Gavin would like for theater. He would be like every single day, but I would just come during tech week and
the one week that we put on the show.
Yeah, mic people up. I would do music, sound effects, and all that kind of stuff from like the sound booth.
Yeah,
dude, I'm loving your friendship. It's so cool.
Completely symbiotic,
Yeah,
we did we did our own things and worked together.
Worked together at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow. You guys seem very mentally healthy too, emotionally and mentally healthy.
Well, then
not all the time.
We carry ourselves pretty well then.
But I think we carry ourselves pretty well. I mean, like
I'm trying to think. I wonder how I would react to you guys in high school. Like, would I? Because I didn't like.
You would have beat the shit out of us. Right. You'd curb stomp us.
No, but you know what it is, dude. It's interesting. Is like. I remember having an aversion to other children where I was like, I can tell their parents love them. I hate them, and then, but now what I realize is that it's only because I don't like being around like really healthy people because I'm afraid that they'll see how fucking hideous I am inside or how fucked up I am.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, well, I do all my therapies and I'm trying to care about myself better and all this stuff. So I go, all right, let me see if I can hang with these healthy people. It's pretty
Right.
Yeah.
fun.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
that's
yeah.
I think that's something that like just in general, just general population that are, of people that are my age or like our age, is that fact that like we do care more about like mental health or
Yeah.
like not smoking or not drinking as much, like drinking something that like is still just kind of like nah, I don't know, not a lot. That it's just something that's okay, we'll do it, but it's not like
Did you
something we
guys
have to
ever
do.
take mushrooms in high school or take mushrooms or anything like that?
I was so scared because
same.
I was so scared for like no reason. Now I haven't done them, but it's like I know there was never going to be a random drug test. There was never going to be any pressure to you know what I mean? Like there was never anything like that happened. And I wasn't stressed out about it. I was so stressed out about it. I'm like, I can never let that happen. Like
Right.
or we'd hear like one story of someone losing their mind while they tripped acid, or like getting lost and lost for a month, and I'm like, I wanted to do it up until then, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't think about that anymore,
Right.
or there was also just like the skids or like the dropouts would just kind of, like the skids, the stoners, it's just kind of like there was like two paths in high school where it was like the advanced path, and then there was, for us at least, there was like the advanced path and then like the common path.
Sure.
And like doing other things rather than like, calculus and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like my end goal in high school was to get there. But I was thinking that if I were to do any type of shrooms, LSD, marijuana, it was like I would never get there because I would have become this like total like
Well,
not
it's just
doing
like
any
the
like
stigma.
burnout. Yeah.
The stigma.
Yeah,
Wait,
that
so
too.
you the propaganda, the anti-drug propaganda worked.
Got to
Yeah,
him.
yeah, it got to me really hard. I remember I remember like my brother and my sister and I, like whenever my parents would drink, even in like whenever we were learning like dare stuff, like drugs against violence and
Right.
it was just like we were like, oh, don't drink too much of that. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like they're 21, they could drink it. Like we were
Carson,
just like,
did you take anything?
I first I smoked weed for the first time in 8th grade, so when I was 13.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
And
all just young and shit.
right. The first time it was a good experience, and the second time I had like this crazy horrible experience with it. So I like swore off of it from that just cuz it was like I don't know, I felt like I was tripping out. It probably wasn't laced, but at the
were
time
like extremely high.
I very very high.
You're like, what's happening?
Right. It was
that's the point of no return there.
right. But like and then
that
like
happened to me too, where I smoked
Yeah.
it a little bit. I was like, oh, I guess I feel high. I don't know. And then I smoked it one time, and I was like, holy
Right.
shit, dude.
Right. That's how it was for me. And then like I think because of that, but also just like I was kind of like a neurotic kid. Like when I was younger, I was like really neurotic and really anxious about like just weird things. So like the idea of doing like acid or something like that was like I was like no way. There's not a chance because I was just so neurotic and like this like little things would like freak me out. So I was like no,
like,
I'm not going to do that.
Can you tell me one thing, like what would weird you out? Like what would give you anxiety?
Just in general or about doing drugs?
Like just yeah, I mean not drugs, but just like what was something that you felt like you could say I got hung up on that kind of defines your neurotic?
It was like the one main thing with it was like being away from my parents was weird. Cuz like what I was going to say is that I think maybe why Gavin and I carry ourselves well, and not saying that like because of this is the only way you can carry yourselves well, is that we grew up in like really good home lives. Like our home life was really good.
I
and
feel
like,
that. I sense that from you.
Well, and that's what I mean is like you don't have to have a great home life to be to be a person like you or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
you don't have
you
to
could you can come from wherever and still be
absolutely.
just as And so I didn't want to like say that and come off like, well, look at us on our high horse, but
looking down at you.
Oh, don't worry about
looking
it,
down
bro.
at anybody, not just specifically targeting you or anybody
Do you
else.
guys live in Los Angeles now?
No, we're still where we grew up.
Yep.
Right outside St. Louis, still in the same town. For now.
Awesome. Let me ask you a question. I feel like, were you helping on office hours?
Yeah, I'm an associate producer.
Okay, and so that, you know what, I was messaging you and I said, hey, you know what would be cool would be a celebrity tennis match
Yeah.
or basketball or
That was
something.
me. Yeah.
That was me trying to force the idea that I was a celebrity into the world.
Well, I took it. I believed it.
I know. I was like, I think I got this guy. I
I
think
did
people
like the idea. I think tennis or basketball, and you were like, "Oh, bring Blake Anderson, and we'll do the
I'll bring
celebrity
Blake.
game."
We'll
Mm-hmm.
fucking smoke those fools, dude. Could
Right.
you imagine how fun
I'd
would that
watch it.
be? That's cool that you're an associate producer. I don't know
Yeah.
what that means, but it sounds cool.
I'm an associate to the producer. I'm an assistant to the producer.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
so
you. I appreciate
excited.
it. Yeah,
So,
I'm remote for
what?
them, but I'm hoping to move out there next year or sometime soon.
Okay. And then, Gavin, you
Mhm.
got to move out there too. You can't split up the team.
Well,
That's true.
we'll see where it goes. Because I'm in pharmacy school right now, so I have like 2 years left. I'm about to hit finals here.
He'll be a doctor.
I'll be Pharm D. Yeah. So I'll have
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. So I don't know where I'm gonna go. I don't know where it ends up going because there's so many different things you can do. It's not just counting pills and or what is it? Slinging pills and paying the bills.
Yeah,
it's not
that's what
just
it was.
that. It's just
It's not just getting paid.
it's not
getting
just that
lit.
anymore.
Right.
It's very involved, and there's a lot of different places that I think I have open doors to. That it's just a lot of choice, and it's and I can not to say that that's a lifetime choice in that, because even our dean of our new dean of our college was like, oh yeah, I did all these other different things. Like you don't have to say, oh, I'm going to do retail pharmacy and do retail pharmacy for 50 years or whatever. They're like, you can go do whatever you want for however long you want. And you can be like, I want to do something else, and just go do something else.
Right.
So like nobody's gonna look at you.
You don't have the acting bug anymore, huh?
Well, the thing is that I did act in college. I acted freshman to senior year in undergrad, and then now I'm in a professional program, and it's like I was a neurotic mess like last semester. It was last fall. I was like the lead in the play called 39 Steps, and we only did like rehearsals like 6 hours a week, but it was still like a lot because I had to take exams and quizzes and everything else and do lab work, and it just it sucked
so much.
So it was so I was like, I told the director, I was like, I really do want to do this more, but it's just that the workload, that it's just way too much for me, and I need to like focus on focus on my studies. And then he's like, maybe I'll consider, doing whatever whenever I'm like solid in my foundation of like learning and like, doing well in exams,
Right.
You are the most motherfucking responsible person I've ever met in my life.
For now, yeah. But
yeah,
it's just, I just have to make sure all my ducks are in the row and everything.
And then the director fired you, so you're out.
He said, God, you blew it, dude.
You blew it.
Yeah. And it's also, it's just a lot of like anxiety of like expectations that I set for myself. Nobody's asking me to do these things. I'm just doing them. And then it's like, it's just like I guess you're right. It's just responsibility, but it's just a lot to do. So,
but now we do this together, and we've been creating stupid online content since probably freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
And so like this is kind of our outlet to do our own thing and have fun with it, and like it's cool that we're like finally kind of establishing it more, and like getting people like you on the show,
right.
And definitely is like
Matt, Vic,
Yeah, it's just like it's fun to be able to be like,
You had
okay, we're
Vic
actually
on here?
Yeah. Last month?
Last month
or 2 months ago, I think it was. But yeah,
That's so cool.
It's really cool to be able to like kind of establish it more,
and have like the creative outlet still.
Yeah,
because like I'm always bugging to make like I send him stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, let's create this, or let's start doing this, or make this, or it's just like we have
making
ideas.
like weird little acting videos of stuff, like little things.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta see these.
Oh man, I'll send you some.
Yeah,
we've done a few.
Dude.
We haven't done as much. We have a couple ideas we're working on, but always trying to create stuff.
Do you see any dudes online that you think are pretty funny? And when I say dudes, I mean all genders, all identities.
I mean, obviously all the office hours guys, like Gavin
What
and
about
I.
like Casey Frey? Do you like Casey Frey?
Oh yeah, he's funny.
Okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. He was a Vine guy, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he was a Vine
Yeah,
guy, and like
He's with he does stuff with that guy
there's Trevor Wallace I watch a lot.
Chonders
Churdleys.
Churdleys. That's
Churdleys
it.
is the guy. Yeah, Churdleys.
Oh.
That's a comedy group that I follow too. There's a couple people that I just like have found through like Twitter likes. Like I just like the algorithm shows you
Random.
things that a lot of people will
Yeah,
like
yeah.
or
If
people
you
like
like
you.
something,
Yeah, and so
you're like if you type in I like this comedy thing, and then
Right.
all of a sudden you see a bunch of comedy stuff. But if you
Right.
if you type in like I like Joe Rogan, and
Yeah.
then like all of a sudden you're like a Nazi like 5 minutes later.
Manosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird how the algorithm like does that, dude. It just sort of pushes you in this direction. It's really trippy.
Mhm.
Right. So like I guess
But
I found a couple people in like the Seattle area that I follow. There's like a guy named I don't know what his name is, but all I know is like his online username is Lunch Enjoyer, and that's someone that I follow, and he tweets some funny shit.
Mhm.
There's that guy that you had that you said is like right up my alley in like terms of like just like bland, like
Oh,
you won the internet today.
Jay Weingarten.
Yeah, Jay Weingarten. Yeah, like those.
Who was
Jay Weingarten is really
Yeah.
trippy.
Yeah.
Like,
was
that-
he on
awesome.
the episode of Office Hours you were on?
Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to remember who was on that one. Yeah.
Dude, it was
he's
so cool.
funny.
That was so fun for me.
I'm sure it was. Yeah. It was awesome that you got to paint there too. I thought that was so cool. I don't
In
know
the
whose
studio?
idea
Yeah.
was. But I loved it.
I met Tim, on a aircraft carrier hella years ago.
Were you guys like getting deployed out to Afghanistan or some shit?
Yeah. We were doing a comedy tour. No, but it was for the Adult Swim Death Clock. It was during Comic-Con.
Okay.
And he was there, and I was like, holy shit, there he is. That's so cool. And I was like, hi. And he was just like, it's like one of those things where I don't know. He wasn't that pumped. It was like, I mean, it's one of those things where you're basically like hostage to whoever's around. You know what I mean? So I just shook his hand and then kind of just felt, I was like, hey, hi, Tim. He's like, hey, nice to meet you. And he's just like moving on. And I was like, that was cool. I met Tim.
Yeah.
And then, and then I kind of just like forced my way into the Office Hours universe or whatever. But
yeah,
it's like one of those things where, our culture with the like fandom stuff is so trippy. And I feel like as I've like had just even a small semblance of success as an artist and stuff is like really let me understand that like it's just such a weird mind conditioning thing to think that somebody is anything other than just like a person.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like being starstruck by somebody. I met the Jesse the dancing outlaw, what's his name? Jesco White, the dancing outlaw. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's the last of the Appalachian dancers, and there was like these,
Jesco White.
Yeah, Jesco White. And anyways, he was sort of legendary, but like I met him, I was sort of starstruck by him because he's like a weird American icon, kind of strange dude. And then I mean, I've met a lot of people, I've gotten to meet all my heroes and stuff, but I think with Tim is that what's interesting is that like, so I used to work with people with developmental disabilities. I was like an art teacher type guy or whatever for 10 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was super fun, man. And I recommend it. But then I remember like I was kind of a depressed guy, angry, depressed. And I was like, I want to do art for a living. I want to be a creative guy. I don't know, whatever. And I found the DVDs. I remember I took my students out on an outing one time, and they're like, take us to Best Buy. And I was like, because they want to go to Best Buy and buy shit, DVDs, dollar DVDs. And I was like, all right.
CDs
I didn't
or
have,
whatever.
I didn't have a cable. So I was like,
Hmm.
ooh, I guess I'll take you guys to Best Buy. And we went there. And I saw in Best Buy they had the DVDs, right? Fucking Wonder Shows in
Hmm.
uh Tom Goes to the Mayor, Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, great job, all this shit. It was like all this shit that I had no idea about what anything even was.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I would just go there and buy DVDs, like, oh, cool, I got to see this. And I was like, oh, cool, Wonder Shows, and this is weird. And it was like this whole, Andy Milonakis and
Yeah.
shit like that. And it was like everything kind of busted open. I was like, whoa, there's like a full-on subversive, surrealist, like absurdist comedy movement going on.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like lived like that. I felt like that was my humor. I was really into this. Everything's very weird. And like I would people weren't totally sure what was going on with me or whatever. They're like, you're weird, dude. And I'm like, nah, it's funny. Everything's insane. Like we're all crazy. The world sucks. And I remember feeling like, dude, this shit is incredible. And it
Right.
wasn't even just like, oh, dude, that was the funniest shit of all time. That was perfect. It was like the raw weirdness of it
Hmm.
all. And it was like the internet, but making fun of the internet and like
Right.
making fun of things that were in our sort of like our suburban, hyper compressed um lives of advertising and
Hmm.
bullshit and
Mm-hmm.
capitalism and money and like weird cultural behavior and commercials and all this shit, you know what I mean? And I was like, dude, this is it, man. This is the stuff.
Right.
Right.
And I remember it really got into me, and I was like, so I was always like making weird videos and jokes and shit. I should send you some of my like early weird
Oh, please do.
kind of comedy shit that I put on
Please do.
totally influenced by Tim and Eric's, like,
Hmm.
totally on YouTube. Like I remember I got a website. I was like, oh, I got a website. And then like I was all, I'm gonna make commercials for my website. And then I was like total Tim and Eric shit. Like, hey,
That's
this is my
awesome.
website. Like go to. But it was I gravitated towards Tim more.
Hmm.
And there was like something about his sort of the weird cadence of his comedy, like the intellect behind it. And then I discovered um office hours when it first started,
Oh
when it was
shit.
just him on a phone. And I
Okay.
remember Sam Hyde called in,
Oh god.
and Sam Hyde was just like, they took my show. Like,
Right.
you told them to cancel my show. And
Hmm.
he's like, dude, I wish I had that much fucking
Right.
power at Adult Swim. Are you fucking kidding
The,
me? And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, and I just started, and I was like, I'm with Tim, like politically, I feel like I really, it's like he's just like very grounded in a lot of ways. I
Yeah.
feel like,
yeah.
it's just very interesting. So I don't know, it's kind of cool to be friends with him, but it is also funny because I think that the very nature of what I do with my life is just so befuddling to people. But like, I feel like for him, he's just like, wait, so you just draw wizards for a living and
Right.
shit?
It's
Okay.
normal.
It's like not like he doesn't understand. Like, I don't think that he understands that like the comedy, the absurdity, the pulling apart of everything goes beyond
Yeah.
things like what an artist does or doesn't, or a comedian or whatever. Because you know like I feel like my whole life like I feel like I'm in the same spectrum of absurdity, comedy, laughing, making fun of shit. We live in the nightmare world, you know what I
Right.
Right.
mean? And if you don't gather a strong understanding of it, um and like really come, if you don't do your best to subvert it when you can, and come to peace with the fact that you can't really control much of it, then you could survive it.
Right.
But like it is funny because I do kind of feel like it's one of those things where like I'm almost like it's like a disservice that I do with my life. Like I feel like I should be a botanist or something. Then people would be like, you seem pretty cool, man.
Right.
This
But for the
guy's
most
holding
part,
up
everybody's like,
society.
Right.
yeah, but everybody's like, dude, you're nuts. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do? Is this what you do? Is this what you see in your mind?
Right.
You're crazy. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, motherfucker. I don't see this shit in my mind. This is like a fun thing I do. It's like a hobby. Like I just
Right.
try to draw good.
Right.
Like
right.
I'm just trying to draw good, bro.
Right.
What
Sometimes that's all it is. You just draw
Right.
good, you know?
what
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you
It's not like I didn't make the movie Saw, bro.
Right.
I didn't make I don't like gore and torture porn and stuff. I make psychedelic fantasy art.
Right.
Right. But even if you did make the Saw movie, it's not like that doesn't mean that's who you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, but the thing is, but what I'm saying is that like I feel like there's this like very kind of weird inordinate emphasis on artists in these really weird ways where it's romanticized in this strange way where it's like if you say I'm an artist, people kind of go in their mind already like cool, trippy, flighty. You're just drinking wine, listening to Leonard Cohen
Right.
CDs and the fucking beam of lights coming in your big wooden studio and you're painting.
You got easels, you got the
there's
you got
a
the paint
naked
swatches,
chick there, and
yeah.
like, dude, inspiration's just striking you whenever it does, man. And like you're just living so in the moment, it just can't be fucked with, dude. And it's like, nah, dude, my life is like extremely focused, nonstop, creating constantly, managing relationships, making sure everybody's happy, making sure everything's taken care of, making sure that like I've done everything I can to make the money so I could pay the bills. And then like it's just like it's the most craziest a polydimensional like self-management labyrinth that you could even fucking imagine.
Right.
But people are like, oh, but if you tell people like, oh, cool. All right, so what do you do?
Yep. Right.
Yeah, like, that's your hobby, but like, what's your job?
Right.
Yeah, but like, what's your job? I'm like, oh, dude, I sell wizard art.
Right.
But
like I
but
feel that
like,
because like to make that connection to you, like I don't do anything on the scale you do, but even the things that I do, and I try to tell people, especially people who are older than me, and adult, like what we consider adults. And I try to explain what I do to them, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I'm like, "No, it is really cool. Like it is really cool
what
I do.
Huh? You know,
like it's
just
like,
cool.
It's
like strange to explain to somebody, that their life is regimented in these terms that are like stringent capitalist terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you get up at a certain time, you go to your job. When you're at your job, you are not available to do anything else. Then you go home and you're like, I'm tired. Now I'm going to watch a TV show or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, and that's fine. I'm not, it's just that like once you're outside of that, it really fucks with people's ability to like ascertain like what it is you do. Cause it's too abstract, Like I remember when I was, I built a house in Sacramento. So I own this house in Sacramento. And then me and Christy were like, let's buy a house in Oakland. So we were able to buy the house. And then I had been self-employed for like, 12, 13 years, whatever. And I go, all right, we're filling out the paperwork. He's all right, well, we need like stubs from your like employment.
Right.
I'm like, no, I'm the boss.
Yeah. This is your stub.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm the stub, dude. I'm the huge stub. I'm the stub that you've been looking for.
Right.
And then he's like, all right, wait. So what happens like if you lose your job? It's like if you lose your job, or whatever. I'm like, I already done lost the job, bro.
I am
the job.
Lost. Right. I was like, if somebody else loses their job, they gotta like figure out what to do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Get health insurance, other stuff like that.
I'm like, I already figured it out. I already lost it. It's been gone.
Right.
And like, I could just see his brain like, wait, oh, I guess, like, is that true? Like, they don't understand. I'm like, no, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, all right, let me get this bread, homie. Let me figure this out.
Right.
I have a million different ways of figuring it out, and I'm super good at it. And I'm a very responsible adult. But
Yeah.
like explaining that to somebody and just being like, I don't know, man. Like, look at how much money I make. I don't know what to fucking tell you, dude. Like your rules in the bureaucracy in which you're enforcing is undermining the whole idea that there is an American dream, really.
Right.
I guess I don't know. And so, I just confuse people. I'm like, I just like the dude. I'm like, hey, can I increase the amount of money on my credit card or whatever? And he's like, oh, well, that's for people that make this amount of money. I'm like, I make more than that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we're gonna need to see a W-2.
Yeah, but they need to see the stubs and shit. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm like, dude, I probably make more money than you.
Right, for sure.
But let me ask you, do you get fucked with this much?
Yeah. Right.
And it's like weird because I know that I just look like some guy that like just walked off the road or whatever.
This guy's homeless, right?
Just was sleeping down by the river.
But it is strange because you could literally like I could be like if I was like one of my like I have my friend Ian iDubbbz, he's like some YouTube dude.
Oh, you're friends with him?
Yeah,
holy shit.
Yeah, I'm on his he has a new show.
Yeah.
I'm on an episode coming up.
No way. Holy shit. We're like, not to interrupt you, but we're huge fans and like
we were just talking about that.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh, really? Hell yeah.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You like Dax Flame?
He's interesting.
I didn't know who that was.
Dude,
Did you see the documentary?
Rules.
Yeah. I didn't know him before iDubbbz video, but I did watch that whole documentary.
Have you guys watched the new episodes?
I watched the Airsoft Fatty one.
Oh, did you?
That's it.
I haven't watched it yet. Oh my god, I need to. Dude, that's awesome. You're gonna be on there.
I didn't know. That's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so, dude. So, but anyways, we'll come back to that. But I want to talk about. But with Ian, it's like he just looks like some dude with a mullet, but he's like totally rich from YouTube.
Right.
And so, like, if he walks in and he's just like, "Yeah, I want to buy a house," where they're like, "Oh." I mean, it's just like, what do you got to do? Just be like, all right, here's the cash. I want the house. You know what I mean? It's like, because at some point, what happens is that there's like a breakdown. Because if you're not like a sanctioned in the class stratification, like if you're not like a wealthy person and you don't, and it's not like understood that you come from money or that you have money.
Right.
It doesn't compute that you would have money. Or that, it's like really fucking weird, dude. Because even now, like if I work really hard or I do like a big, campaign to try to get money on something, they go, here's, it's like a check for 20 grand or something like that. Right. Say I worked real hard. And then I go, hey, here's the check. And they go, okay, well, we're going to hold, half of it or whatever. And then I go, well, okay, but let me ask you, how much money do I have to have in the bank, or does one have to have in the bank before you don't hold the money anymore?
Right.
And I was like, is there a thing with that? And it's like, and it's like these are terms that you start to grapple with, because when I was young and I was growing up, I lived in a fucking trailer park, like a trailer, you know what I mean? And like, it was like not healthy food, white trash shit, beer, fucking Budweiser cans, fucking, you know what I mean? Wasn't. And so like, I grew up like hyper aware of these things where I'm like, oh, my shoes aren't cool, my clothes, whatever. I'm not like cool, whatever. I don't have the stuff, I don't have the fashion.
Right.
And then, and so like, as like, a 40-year-old dude who's like able to make money, as a self-employed person, you go into these places, like, this shit is weird to me. It's like strange, because you get to a point, because I remember when I had like a job and I was making $700 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, they weren't holding the money back.
Right. Right.
They were like, oh, okay, cool, $700.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. And I'm like, oh, cool, thanks, man. Now I could like whatever pay my rent and like buy,
Thank you.
some tacos or
Right.
something.
Well, and I feel
Anyway,
like
whatever. We don't have to talk about that. It's not very fun.
I think it's fun. I think it's interesting
All
because
right.
I feel like coming from where you came from, you definitely, I'm sure, have a better grasp on your money because you're like, I know what it means to not
Financial
have
security.
money. Yeah. And that's that also makes, I feel like, makes people super hard workers, which I can tell from the amount of stuff that I see you doing. So like, I definitely hear what you're saying for sure about that. And then I'm sure it sucks
Ball
to
till
be
we
like,
fall.
what's that?
Said ball till we fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm sure it sucks being like coming from that and then finally having money and then they're like, we don't know.
Right.
Like they're still giving you
But the
side
thing
eye.
is that it's not like I have, you know what it is, dude, is that it's like, it's not like I have, it's not like it's like, I'm very aware of like how much money I need to make, but like
Yeah.
most of my money goes to things like health and shit.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, or like trying to save it for like some other future better thing or like something like that. But it's like, I know that what I do is work super fucking hard and function within the parameters of society, but then don't get the rewards
Mm-hmm.
because of
Because you're not actively participating in said society.
Because I'm not doing it the way they want me to do it.
Right.
But I'm not like Papa John's where I have so much fucking money that they'll interview me on Fox News or something.
Right.
You know?
And talk about how you
It's
ate
like,
40
I'm like-
pizzas in 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as far as these dudes, like I remember one year, like I remember it was like the first year I was like I had like worked super fucking hard and I had gotten up to the point where I had grossed like $200,000 and I had no money in the bank. I had no money. It was like, and I was like, dude, where does the money go?
Right.
Though?
Right.
And then the next year I was all, as an experiment, I'm just going to not work that hard and chill and draw and not try to sell shit and make like 30K. And I had the same amount of money in my bank as I had when I made all that money. And so it's like, you realize that like, there's also sort of like some mind fuckery that goes along with like how hard you work versus what you get versus what you have to show for it versus like, what if I just enjoyed my life a little bit and didn't make that much money and then was able to like just sort of relax a little bit or something.
And
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's because I'm working a bunch of different stuff, and the money is coming in, but then like you said, it's just like end of the month, I pay my rent, I pay all my bills, and I'm like, and then I have nothing left in the bank, and it's like where I like 1 month I'll make way more than I did the last, and I still have the same amount in there, and I'm like trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll have to take on more work and do more stuff, and it's like trying to figure out that balance.
It messes with you.
Right.
On my level, I do get the bi-weekly checks because I work at a hospital, and I worked a lot over the summer, and I was like, I'm working so much, I should be getting a lot of money from this. And a couple of my friends were like, they're like, oh yeah, you must have made bank this summer, right? And I'm like, yeah, I think I did. And then I checked the bank and I'd be like, yeah, see that just didn't feel like it was the same amount of like, compensation or, it didn't feel like I worked that much or, it was like, and like I worked and I took a little bit extra over the summer and I also got some bonuses for like hazard pay and, whatnot. And I would get those bonuses and I'd be like, okay, cool. And it would feel, but it was like, it would feel like it wasn't that much though. It would be like, okay, that was nice of them to do that, and
you're working for the man.
Yeah. And I'm working for the man.
Right.
And I was like, it was like law of diminishing returns where it's like, okay, I worked so much. And now I'm getting like even less than I did before, where I was just like working the normal amount.
Yeah, you're getting
no, and the thing is that I feel like I work really hard, but there's people who have the same job as me, don't work as hard, and still get paid the same amount as I do. And that's where like a lot of where my like anti-work kind of comes from of like, I'm only gonna work as much as you guys pay me. I'm
Right.
I can't.
You
I'm
get
not
what
gonna.
you
Yeah,
get.
and it's like
Mhm.
I'm
That's what I
working.
like.
I'm working way harder. I'm working way harder than these people,
Right.
and these people suck. To most of the pharmacists, I'm like, these people suck.
Not
And
calling anybody
not
out
calling it out, but
specifically,
it's like the pharmacist will be like, this tech sucks,
Mhm.
and I'm like, well, you got me, and I'm getting paid the same amount, so
Right.
I
You
can't
know,
fix that.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. It sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that our
Yes.
values like that, but
Right.
I'm sorry that we're valuing
We are
your life like that.
dissatisfied workers, and we are going to overthrow the control.
The whole government.
Anyways, I don't want to say I'm not trying to, and I didn't want, I think that like I only say this stuff, and I know it's not super tasteful to talk about like how much money I've made or not made or whatever, but I think what I want to do is sort of demystify some of the stuff, because I think like as far as like other artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you post online, it's like you just post how you're doing good and not doing bad,
Right.
but
There's
it's
no bad
all
from that.
totally a struggle. It's all
Right.
very much, I am entrenched in like working class struggle, and I love my comrades.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where you realize that like the system is built to get us to obey and have loyalty to something that has zero interest in our own self, our own love, our own self-love, our own health, and all this stuff. You have to like take care of your body, and you have to take care of your spirit, because nobody else is going to. So you have to have really strong boundaries with people who would seek to exploit you and your labor. So
Yeah,
I
right.
like this.
That's just a dichotomy. And I also just want to elaborate a little bit more on that, just because like
Your workers are gonna email.
yeah, well,
in.
yeah, I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
but you're gonna work with people you don't like. You're gonna work with people that don't have the same work ethic as you. So that's why I said that they suck, is because there's some people that just don't have the same work ethic as me, and
Right.
pharmacists have outwardly said they don't like these techs or whatever.
Yeah. And you're not saying anything wrong.
Yeah,
You're saying
it's just like that's just facts. Is that there are
Yeah.
just people that just don't work as
Right.
hard, and
Right.
but they're still
Facts.
getting paid the same as me.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's that. Where
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I fucking hate that person. That person should definitely get paid less than
You're
me.
being general.
Well, I think one of the things is that like maybe those people are in their own way just being like, yeah, this is what my time's worth.
Right. No, yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
gonna
No,
work
that's
that hard.
exactly. And
Because you're selling your labor to these people.
right.
And so like sometimes it's like if somebody's like, look, I'm gonna give you $100 an hour to get your grind on.
Mhm.
You're like, dude, I will.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I feel respected. That's a number that I appreciate, and
Right.
that feels equitable.
Right.
But then if somebody's like, how about $20 an hour? You're like, you're gonna get $20 worth of my nutsack.
Right.
Right.
And so you could so it's like everybody has to decide what's best for them. Without us, we have to have loyalty to the other workers too, and understand that shit. But at the same time, it is frustrating when you're you doing your work, which you want to have like a relationship with your work that feels satisfying and good, so that you feel like, whoa, I worked all day and I feel good about it. You know what I mean? You don't want to feel like you wasted your fucking time. So anyways, whatever. So yeah, so that's
trading
cool.
time for money. That's all it is.
Right.
Yes, quit your job and fucking just go down to the river like me and take acid.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but you saw the Airsoft Fatty episode of iDubbbz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
I didn't know that iDubbbz was doing any of that, and then all of a sudden it comes out with like this podcast.
Well, that was the first episode, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That's why I was like, what is this? And it's just,
dude.
I mean,
it's
we watched
so
a documentary on Airsoft Fatty, but having him
we
in
did.
studio was very like surreal to watch.
It's so good, dude.
It's
Airsoft
really weird.
Fatty is so fascinating. Like he's just like his brain is so interesting. Like just
he's very much like he's very much in like there's no reason for me to give a fuck kind of like mood, where he's like, why do I need to give these people anything if they're so mean to me all the time.
He like made up some religion about smoking weed. Did you see that part?
No, I didn't get to that part.
Weeditarian. He's like, yeah, I'm a weeditarian. And he's like, "Oh, what's that mean?" And he's like, "Oh, it means that when you die and then you go up to the pearly gates and then there's like weed there and then everybody smokes weed." It was like some I'm not saying what he said like good,
Yeah.
but it was something as ridiculous.
That's
And I was
awesome.
just like, dude, I fucking love
Yeah,
this
I mean,
guy.
that,
Like
you
Right.
gotta
he's
do what you
so
want to do. You gotta do what you gotta do to, cope
Right.
with everyday life. So, I mean, if that's what gets him through,
You want to talk about being against the man?
yeah,
That's it right there.
that's it right there.
But the girl that was on the second one is sort of this like just very brutal, kind of gnarly, kind of hard to listen to person, but it was a good interview.
I
It
don't. Who
was
was that? Who was it that was on?
I'll look it up.
Okay, because I saw it, but I didn't watch it. I just saw that there was somebody else.
but I was
on it.
like, holy shit, who is this person? She seems gnarly, like
Right.
so brutal. But Dax navigated it pretty good. And he's totally like that. That's not like a made up character.
Hmm.
That's who he is.
That's what I got from that documentary. Is that it's like this isn't a character. This is who he is.
No, I've and he's maybe the most unique person I've ever
Right.
become.
Well, how did you even get to know iDubbbz? How did that come to be?
Oh, because I was friends with his dad and his uncle,
Oh,
who
really?
are these like trippy guys in San Diego, that started a coloring, like a weird coloring book thing. And then like I met them, they at Comic Cons at some
Hmm.
conventions. And then they were like, and then I just became friends with them and see him at cons and like all this stuff. And then Ian was there. He was young. He was like 16,
Oh, damn. Okay.
like
All
a
right.
hella little ass kid, just
Yeah.
quiet, really
Hmm.
quiet. Just like, yeah, quiet, intense dude. Just mellow, like not, and then I was like, "Hey, Ian, what's up, man?" And we would just hang out and stuff. And he would just sit there at the booths and chill and not, because like, and then what was funny was years go by, and I started seeing these memes and shit on
Okay.
Instagram, right?
Hmm.
And I was all, that kid looks like fucking Ian.
Right.
The I'm gay and
Yeah.
the hey,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty good.
Right.
Those were like the
Yeah,
two that like
I have crippling depression.
yeah. Yeah, that was
And
yeah.
then I would look and I was like, wait, this guy's wearing a sweater I designed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was all, oh, that's fucking Ian. And I was
Uh-huh.
all, whoa, Ian's in the meme game now.
Right.
Wow, that's cool. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool, like whatever. And then I went over, I was at my buddy Alex's house, Alex Pardee, one time, and he's like, dude, did you see that Ian is like famous on YouTube now or whatever? And I was like, I kind of got the feeling something was going on with him. I don't know. And he's just like, was just like this massive YouTube star guy. I
Yeah.
don't know. And like, and there was definitely questionable stuff about some of his content, like calling people
for sure.
Yeah.
gay,
Calling people the
this
N-word
and
and
that,
stuff
and all
like
this
that.
shit.
Yeah.
But he is like totally evolved and changed as a person, and like
Yeah.
has really like, his politics are much better now and stuff. But like, but what was funny was he I think that like his dad was like, hey, Skinner makes weird videos now. You should talk to him or something.
Mhm.
And I was like, and I thought it was funny because I'm like, that's so hilarious. Like talking to some kid, like, hey, Ian, like, because he's the super famous, cutting edge YouTube star guy. And like,
Boxer.
hey, your friend, our friend Skinner, remember that weird dude? Yeah, he talks into his camera too.
Right.
You should talk to him. And I'm like, no, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
me getting up and being like, you know what grinds my gears?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Is different than, So but then what happened was he just emailed me. I hadn't seen him in years. I think that I was just like messaging him like, hey, I see you. I'm beyond impressed.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Love
What
the space you're operating with here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what in the hell happened to you? You're crazy, bro.
Mhm.
And then And then he messages me, he goes, "Hey, what are you doing like in 2 weeks?"
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't know what's going on. He's like, "Well, I have this show we're filming up in Seattle." So I flew up there a couple months ago, like 2 months ago, and I did the interview and it was
No way.
fun and everything. But I was like, because the thing is with me is like, I don't know if you saw I had that drawing show on Super
Yeah,
Deluxe.
I was just watching that yesterday, just kind of preparing for this, and I didn't realize that
Okay.
was on. Like I watched it, I got enthralled in
Right.
it with the.
Another youth oriented
Well,
program.
yeah, another super
And
deluxe
so I would
thing.
always go, "Hey, let me make my show weirder. I want drag queens. I want fucking crazy shit, whatever." And
Right.
they're like, "Nobody in the office knows who those drag queens are." And like, and I was like, "Man, get the fuck out of here." I was like, "If you guys want," I was like, "Why aren't you telling anybody about my show?" Like, we want it to go viral. I'm like, "If you want this shit to go viral, you need to get somebody young and good looking
Right.
to do
Right.
this." And they were like, "No, but you're good at asking questions." And, like, and I was like, "Then let me do my shit." So like the funny thing is that I feel like it's more like just naturally being like, I can be an obnoxious person who needs attention in front of the camera. It's
Hmm.
like it just works.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. You just have to turn it on.
Like, these are my friends,
Right.
Right. Right. Right.
guys.
Right.
So I don't know, but but yeah, so I'm excited for that episode to come out. But
When did you say that's
yeah,
coming
I
out? Is it? You don't know.
should be in like a couple weeks or
Okay.
something. I don't know how they're releasing them. I'm
Right.
not
Yeah.
sure.
I didn't know if you knew.
But
I'll be
but
curious to
like
see
I've
that.
been very peripheral to internet people phenomenons and stuff. Like my friend Matt Fury, he was the Pepe the Frog creator.
Right. Right.
And so like I've been kind of peripheral to all of it, but thankfully it hasn't ruined my life in any
Ugh.
way.
Right. Stay away from that life
Yeah.
ruining stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go through like I didn't feel like we needed to go through a whole history of Skinner because I'm sure you've done that on a million different
Okay.
interviews. But I was curious to know, like, I'm going to ask the age old question. I'm sorry for asking this, but how did you get started doing art? Why did you start doing it? What was your interest? What led you to where you are now?
Well, my parents found me in an old army boot, and just kidding.
That's where I was hoping it would go.
Well, my parents found me in an old no, no, well, when I was little, I would draw a lot, draw my Godzillas and
Mhm.
my draw my sharks and my Incredible Hulks and Godzillas and Ultramans and tanks and ninjas and stuff.
Mhm.
And over time, I discovered comics, and I would always draw, and I love being creative, but I think that like I was always like kind of creative and artistic and stuff, but it would kind of like come and go. I didn't have like a really super strong practice, not
Right.
very disciplined. I mean, in high school, I tried to get pretty good and stuff. And after that, I kind of was just like drinking martinis and getting wasted and shit for a long time.
Mhm.
But when I was, so from the age of about 21 to 28, I taught 21 to 30, I think. I taught art, people with developmental disabilities and stuff.
Mhm.
And I remember like I would have little art shows here and there and stuff like that. But Juxtapose magazine was sort of this like weird art magazine that would show things like tattoos and graffiti and
Mhm.
monster art, comics, and trippy art, surreal art. And I was like, oh, there's like kind of a movement going on there. It's pretty cool.
Right.
And I was like, cool, I could draw my monsters and have little shows and sell my paintings and stuff. And I remember I was like, I think I was playing music. I didn't have like a lot of direction. I was living in kind of an empty life. I wasn't really capable of connecting too much to anything. It was very PTSD style existence,
Mhm.
just like trying to understand what's going on, but depressed. And then I was looking around at my coworkers and they were cool, but they were like 50.
Mhm.
I was 28, something. They were 50. and they seemed like artists that they just seemed dissatisfied with their lives.
Right.
And not all the way, like some of them were pretty cool, but I was like, if I don't try to do something with my life, I'm going to end up kind of like working here for a long time, I think, which is fine. That's a fine life,
Yeah.
but so like it's one of those things that's kind of funny because I think people go like, wow, you really followed your dreams. And I was like, I did, but at first what I realized was that I didn't I had to take like a good look at myself and my life and be like, I don't have any money. I don't have an education. I don't have shit going on, but I could draw kind of good. I could
Right.
draw, I could ink and paint, and I was very motivated and
Mhm.
I wanted a lot of attention. So it just worked out. So I was like,
Right.
cool. And then I was able to quit my job, and then like, I struggled for long time and stuff like this. And I tried to like be an artist like in galleries. That was like really difficult because there was the street art fad. This
Mm.
was at the time, it was like kind of a boom. And it's not really cool to call it a fad, I guess, but feels like
The Banksies of the world.
yeah, waves of art kind of go. It's like this is cool. Now all of a sudden this is cool. Now this is cool. Now that it's like
Right.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But and then like, but I was like showing all these like psychedelic nightmare paintings about the end of the world and all this shit,
Right.
and it was
So you were always doing that style.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, boy, too dumb to quit. But like, with like Instagram and the internet and stuff, I feel like what happened was it kind of like democratized a lot of shit. Where I was like, you don't really have magazines as the
Mm.
place in which like the corridor through which you discover art now. It's like
Mhm.
online, you could see anything, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and that's cool. But at the same time, uh it was like kind of weird because I had like completely um morphed my life into a way in which I was playing by the rules of going through magazines and shit.
Mhm.
Mm.
And so then like when that kind of fell apart, I was like, well, guess I better just keep getting my grind on and like, and like so it's like strange now because I don't know if anybody outside of like a handful of maybe creative people or people who have been paying attention to this sort of art for the last 15 years or so, like know anything that I've done.
Mm.
And so like it's one of those things where I feel like we kind of are cursed to live in this sort of groundhog day mentality where I'm like, if I don't post art, does anybody think that I ever did art
Right.
ever?
Right.
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 And so it's, I don't know, you have to kind of like let go of that, I guess, because I mean, and again, like we were saying, it's like if you're a comedian on a show,
Mhm.
people go, oh, you're the comedian from this show.
Right.
If you're in a band, you're like, oh, you're in this band that did this album or this thing, or like, whatever, you're an actor, you did this movie or this, but like if you're an artist, everybody's like, wait, what did you do? You did what? How did you do? Like,
Right.
is that, it's not, nothing is very, I mean, unless you're like Shepard Fairey, where it's like, or you have a clothing brand or something,
Yeah.
or
Right.
Banksy, because everybody knows Banksy, and you're
Mhm.
like the one artist, the one
Right.
street artist that my aunt knows or
Yeah.
whatever.
You
Right.
almost need something like tangible, I feel like, to be like, okay, I know who you are and I know what you do and
Or
stuff
like
like
the
that.
reference point.
Right.
Like the thing that can umbrella out, you know.
Right.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of younger people are like, hey, how do I make it as an artist? And I'm like, well, you have to kind of boil it down to two choices. Do you want to make art? Do you want to be an artist? Do you want to just kind of be famous?
Mhm.
Right.
Because if you want to be famous, just like rob a bank.
Right.
But if you want to be an artist, you just make some art and
Mhm.
just try to be really good, I guess, or whatever. It's
Right.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I could go into the nuances of like what I think an individual should do for their life to try to like secure it as a professional.
Mhm.
But like a lot of that is just technical shit.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Behind the
No, for
learn
scenes
how
sure.
to
stuff.
send an invoice, learn how much money it would cost you to do a job, how much time it would take you to do the job, like figure out how to like if you get a web store and you put something for sale on the web store, do you know how to process that as an order? Do you go to the post office and you send it in the mail? It's like
Right.
it's basically just a shitload of technical stuff, and it's
Right.
like knowing how to. I mean, I don't know. Like sometimes I'll just see like if it's like a big ass company, I'll be like, all right, let me try to scam some money off these fuckers, or whatever. But like
Right.
if it's like just some small, I'll get some kid, he's like, hey man, how much would it be for a shirt design for my band? I look at the band as like they're like 15 and they played their mom's wedding or something, and I go, oh, free. Like
Oh,
just
dude, that's awesome.
like what do you want? Like, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
But then, like after that, you realize like these guys don't even know what's after that, what the next step is. Like, they don't have any money to print shirts.
No,
Right.
right.
You know what I mean? You just go,
Right.
We got the thing that's gonna go on it. That's
Yeah.
good. We
I go,
figured that
here's the
out.
deal. All right, I drew you a sick minotaur, and it's on your shirt because your band's called Minotaur or whatever. It's sick. And I go, all right. Now you have to ask your dad, like you have to find out how much money you can get from him for the shirts. Like print the shirts and sell them to your friends. Like try to sell them. Like they're like, what? Now I have to sell the shirts. But yeah, you gotta like remember when you were little and you'd have to sell candy bars for your baseball
Right.
team? Yeah,
Right.
you have to do that with your little shirts with the Minotaur on the front.
Right.
They're like, oh, cool. That now go out there and do it.
Right.
Right. That's awesome
But
that
like,
you
Yeah.
do stuff like that. I think
well,
that's
I
so
mean, you
cool.
got to pick and choose like when
Oh,
you can or not or
right.
Yeah.
whatever. It's
I'm
I
sure.
mean, because you can't just if you have time and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I'm sure. I
But
feel like you're always doing stuff.
Something.
You're always up to something. You're always working on something. Do you just feel like is that like a I need to be doing this, or is that like a I just want to keep creating stuff and I just love doing it? Like where does that drive come from to do all that, to do everything that you do?
well, I mean, I have like primary goals, secondary goals. I have like a million things going on. So like I have the stuff that I like to do in my life,
Mm-hmm.
right? I like to get up. I like to do my drawings. I like to write my stories. I like to work on my comics. I like to do my paintings. I like to learn new stuff. I like to try really hard to make like use new inking techniques, like grow as a person, like all that stuff, right? Creatively. Then I have uh like I don't know, say like short-term and long-term collaboration projects.
Mhm.
I like long-term stuff where it's like I'm working on a movie with my friend. I'm working on another movie with another friend. I'm working on a video game with this other guy. I got like I'm working on like uh, uh concepts for statues I want to work on. I have all these things. So it's like I'm trying to think like is there anything else like or like yeah like I'm working on a radio drama
Hmm.
adaptation of my skin crawl magazine for bloodydisgusting.com, and I'm like trying to like weasel into making films with them and stuff. And then I have like this guy who's like working on adaptations of my comics into cartoons, and like, it's just like a million of these things that I'm managing, but they're all in different levels of completion.
Mhm.
And so like if one of them needs something, I give them the art or I give them the stuff or I hook them up with somebody who can help like with the CGI shit or the whatever.
Right.
So it's not even like one of the things is that I'm trying to make art and movies and animations and films and stuff that I want to see made, but that I also am constantly trying to expand into shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love acting. I also know I'm not like a super good like actor, but I know that I could do some fun acting. It's like really fun to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
And so I just go, all right, let me weasel into some acting gigs here.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just kind of do it and it's really fun. And then if I'm like, all right, some guy will approach me and be like, hey, I know how to do this kind of thing. And I go, all right, cool. What are we gonna like? Let's do it. like I've been working on this board game, this completely insane, amazing board game called Realm Runners. So we're gonna do this like crazy ass board game. So it's just like I think like what the thing is that like it looks like I'm doing a million things because I am,
Mm-hmm.
but for the most part, it's just because I'm saying yes to a lot of shit.
Mm.
And then I'm like, like, okay, this person seems like they're about what they want to do. Like they're about this shit.
Right.
And then I go, all right, cool, let's go. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. And I don't know. I want to make things happen and I want them to go. And if I'm being completely honest about it, like I do feel like it's a crazy struggle to sell to try to monetize art.
Mm.
It's like I know how to do it, but I do kind of like worry, like, am I gonna be like one of those old burnout dudes at a table at the little convention in Stockton who's like, hey, we want to buy a book or a drawing of a
Right.
thing. It's like, oh man, that guy used to be awesome.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I'm trying to like really create universes and spaces and time and to make, really important, impactful stuff and tell cool stories. So
Right. Well, and I've kind of
I
not
don't
like
know.
you seem to have a really like just scrolling through your comments and looking at stuff you've posted. Like you seem to have a very dedicated like just fan base around the stuff you create, which I think is awesome. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I follow a lot of artists and I don't. People be like, "Oh, it's cool," but it's like not the same way that like
Like your
you
art
actually have a fan
transcends,
base.
like it also transcends fandoms.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not just, oh, I make art for, office hours, or I'll make art
Yeah.
for this. It's like you have art in a lot of different places,
Mhm.
and I think that's like a visionary thing that you have going
Right.
for you. It's not just you've stuck with one thing and done that for so many years.
Right. Which is why I think you won't be the guy sitting at a
Right,
booth
right.
doing that because
Well, I
you're
will tell
so
you this.
far
I
reached
was
out.
worried. I do get worried. I was worried actually, like I was like, I don't do one thing because when you're an artist and you're self-employed, you do have like kind of a scarcity mindset where you're
Right.
like, oh shit, I gotta get my stuff together. Like, I don't know, I can't take any liberties,
Mhm.
It's not, there's no luxury here, and but I was like, fuck it, dude. You only live one time, man. YOLO.
Right.
And so I was YOLOing up and down the road,
Hell yeah.
you know. And but I just felt like, you know what? I'm just gonna start doing everything because I was trying to like do things like through Super Deluxe. I was supposed to
Mhm.
do a little show with Adult Swim. It didn't work out, and I had like a ton of things going. Uh, and then but they were through these like sanctioned channels, it was
Right.
through companies, it was through all this stuff. So
Right.
I was like, cool, I'll get like a steady paycheck here, this will be nice.
Mhm.
And none of it worked out, and I was like really devastated for a while. But then I realized I had this sort of like, well, I could just like make anything happen, I
Yeah.
think.
Do
Right.
it yourself.
Right.
I was like,
Put
and
yourself
so
out there. Do what
now,
you want to do.
Right.
yeah, so I mean, and I just think that like if I can get a lot of these things done, if I can, my stop motion movie, I'm gonna do a Kickstarter for that in
Nice.
February, I think February. Um, it's a stop motion horror fantasy movie I've been working on for 6 years called Shrine of Abominations
That sounds
with
awesome.
with
I'm
my
in
friend
already.
Ross. And yeah, so get that going, get my radio drama going. My comics are going really good. People like them.
Mhm.
I think that like I can start doing making my anthology films. I've been I don't know if you've seen that movie Europa Report,
Mm-mm.
or have you seen Love, Death and Robots?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, it's on Netflix. It's an
Okay.
animation. Anyway, my friend Philip, he wrote the scripts for Love, Death, and Robots, and then he wrote the story for Europa Report.
Hmm.
But he's a director. He's incredible. He did Spine of Night. He's so awesome. But I've been working on a movie script with him for something we're gonna make called Dungeon Crawl.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's just like insane, like scary Dungeons and Dragons type movie that's gonna be all gnarly and
That's
stuff. But
awesome.
I feel like I really like collaborating with people, and I think it just feels exciting to know that when I'm working with people that like the energy that I'm bringing is like I don't know, being reciprocated and going somewhere cool, and being treated with respect, and then like they give me something, they offer me their creativity, and I get excited because I'm feeling like a lot of trust with this person.
Right.
Right.
It's just cool. I
Yeah.
like it.
That's
So,
Yeah.
awesome.
No, that's very much something that's something that I look for, I would look up to. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's something that I look up to, is that like that type of like, being able to operate, like I said earlier, but like operate in spaces you want to. It's like, okay, you start out small, you're gonna have to eventually branch out. You branch out just normally. That's just like how you normally do it. But it's like, you organically, you just want to put yourself out there more, especially with your art. You're able to do that, and I think that's really admirable.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the real American dream right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it
the
really
real
is.
American dream. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, you just like there's so many creative people where I'm like, why isn't this person just allowed to do whatever they want?
Right.
Right.
They're so great, But, I don't know. But then again, I also, I want to see people with Down syndrome direct $100 million
Oh, that'd
films.
be
Yeah.
awesome.
Beyond, like, I take Michael Bay off Transformers,
Right.
bring in somebody, a team of
Mhm.
people with Downs and their friends, and then let them make
Oh
Transformers.
my god, it'd be amazing. I'd go see a Transformer movie for once.
I'd be first
Yeah.
in line.
Right, exactly. Well,
or
yeah,
That would be
Batman.
crazy.
like I was thinking about this earlier, like, and it kind of goes off what you brought up, where it's like I just wish that the people I really like could make stuff. Like even Tim, who seems to be as established as he is, and he is, like has a hard time getting stuff made, and that's like out there. I'm not like spilling any tea or anything, but
Oh, no,
like,
no. That's
you know what
what
I
he'll
mean?
he'll say.
He said, yeah, he says it all the time. He brings up all the time. That's why Office Hours is run on its own. That's why On Cinema is now on its own. It's just like like you said, it's just like,
Well,
well, if it's not working with somebody, just do it yourself.
but that was something that really that really resonated with me when he was talking about that, because I
Right.
was like, oh, well, my hero guy is having a hard time
Yeah.
getting stuff made. Like, I don't feel so bad,
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm not alone in this.
And
Yeah.
but the thing is that's strange though, is that like it's like what Tim did and what Tim and Eric did is that they were what do they call that? A precursor cultural zeitgeist, like a critical cultural zeitgeist that basically became the culture.
Right.
Yeah. No, for
100%.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that movie. They go, oh, that movie Idiocracy. It was the movie that started out as a movie and ended up a documentary or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of like that's what Tim has done. And you know, strangely enough, it's like, okay, so he does On Cinema. That's no money to make that. Like,
Right.
it's like nothing, right? But like it's the greatest thing ever,
Right.
and it's comedic genius on crazy levels,
Right.
right?
Right.
But it's not, it's like one of those things where I think that like Adult Swim being bought out and like HBO cartoons and all this shit, everything kind of became like, well, can we sell $1 million worth of shirts of this?
Right.
Yeah. It became
Because I
very
think the Rick and
commercialized.
mortification
Mm-hmm.
of Adult Swim kind of turned it into this thing where it's like, well, now here's the bar.
Right.
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 And
Everybody has to
like,
come up with something as good, or if not better than this.
Then
Oh,
Rick
and by the way,
Morty.
the bar is also all the way here because that's Rick and Morty, and you have to make something better than that. You know?
yeah, it's really crazy. And it really is unfair because, and kind of sad and tragic, because Adult Swim was really this sort of place of outsiderness for a long time
For
in some
sure.
ways. And
especially with like Tyler the Creator stuff. That's like where all of his stuff, all like his
Right.
shows on there. That was something that I thought was like that's
Yeah.
crazy. You know what I mean?
That
Like, that's
was
so
kind of
far
like
out there.
that was like the playground for comedians
Right.
and people to go to and put their stuff out, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere it's like flipped on its head and
Yeah.
a marketing
Family Guy and King of the Hill
machine.
reruns too.
Right, exactly.
right. Well, I think like that's how they would get all their money.
Right.
Is like those shows are the ones that would allow for them to take risks on other shit.
And that's why like Too Many Cooks came out at like fucking 3 a.m. on
Right.
like a Thursday night. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just something crazy weird, and they're like, "This is the only time that we're gonna have to. We have it scheduled and blocked out for you. Here's 15 minutes. That's it. No
Right.
more, no less.
Because it's not what they're
Because it's
gonna
not
make
what we
their money
want.
on. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
They've been awesome though. Jason DeMarco has really helped me. The guy who's sort of he's done so much cool stuff to bring animation and amazing shit with music. And he's pretty much single-handedly responsible for bringing anime into, you know, everybody's home in America or whatever. But
That's awesome.
yeah, he would help me. Like I'd be like, dude, I'm making this animation video. I need money. I'm trying to fix it, figure it out, whatever. And then he would always like try to figure out a way to work with me to like do it. So like all the love and respect to the my friends at Adult Swim who tried to help me. Because it was like, you know, what is interesting is that there's the like Adult Swim in Atlanta and then there's the Adult Swim in LA.
Right. Okay.
And I'm not really totally like integrated or initiated into the LA set, but they love me in Atlanta.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, which is fine.
Seems
but
backwards from where you are.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. So, but you know, so we some country boys. We're going out there doing some country shit.
Right.
But
Love our places.
But I showed up one day and I had a catfish in my butt cheek. Like, you my guy. He's the number one. But no, but it's cool, man. I mean, it's like it's really incredible what they've done over the years, and like what Tim has done. It's really fascinating too, because when you see like the cultural impact of what Tim and Eric did, where it's like everything became kind of like an insane joke, like that Quiznos commercial or something.
Yeah.
After Tim and Eric, that type of shit, you know. But then also where it was weird because there is kind of an inborn sort of cynicism to the Tim and Eric show.
Right.
It's sort of dark. It's dark.
Yeah.
It's weird.
You have to buy into
didn't
it too.
have that like meanness to it that I feel like the weird young kids that ended up on 4chan and shit like really like oh yeah, you used to be funny when it was all nihilistic, weird, and it's like, dude, it's your responsibility to make sure that your alienation doesn't define your personality.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
You're reading into it the wrong way, and then, you know.
yeah. And like leave your parents' house. Man.
Right. Get out and touch grass, as the kids say.
Get your ass out.
Right. Exactly. I did really random one-off question, and we should probably wrap things up. I appreciate you staying so long.
Yeah.
I could literally go on for hours and hours.
I hope it's okay.
No,
Oh, yeah,
I
for
wanna.
sure.
I am already set and ready to do this again because I have so much more that I want to delve into and ask about. So
Yeah.
Okay.
at any time. I was looking on your website, just kind of looking through your works that you've done, and you mentioned Quentin Tarantino. But I couldn't find anything on what it was that you did with him or for him or whatever. And I was so curious to know what that was.
Well, remember when he released that movie Inglourious Bastards?
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So he teamed up with Juxtapose magazine or something they were like, we want to do some like art house movie posters, like if they show the movie. And so me and a bunch of artists did that, did different posters, and I tried to make it look like mine's the worst one, actually.
Really?
Honestly. Oh, dude, it's so bad. And
maybe that's why I couldn't find it anywhere.
You look at it, you'll be like, I mean, because I just did it because I think they gave us not that much money, but I was like, I just needed the money. I needed the burritos,
Right,
man.
right.
But like it was like kind of, yeah, was there some Nazis and shit and like
Hmm.
some guys killing them and like I don't know, but it was, yeah, it was like a poster for the Inglorious Bastards. But then what happened was they never ended up using it.
Oh,
So what they did was we used it to raise money. We sold prints of all of them to raise
okay.
money for when the hurricane in Haiti happened,
Okay.
which I like to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
for
of
sure.
course.
yeah.
So that's
So
where it
that
ended
was
up
that.
going
Yeah,
to.
I know. It's like kind of a flex, being like, work with Quentin Tarantino.
I would
But
do
I'll
the
be
same
honest,
thing.
dude, I'm not really a big Quentin Tarantino fan.
I can't say the same
Uh,
here.
I'm not like
Same way.
totally like I don't
He's
care.
a little weird. He's a
I also like,
little bizarre.
I would say this. His head sucks. His voice sucks. He talks way too much. I don't like what he says. It
No.
sucks.
No.
And then the other thing is the dialogue in his movies and the shots and stuff, I feel like are overwrought. Like I can just see him being like, "Oh yeah. Oh, I'm so cool. This is cool dialogue.
This is a great
I'm
shot.
so
Right.
smart and cool. Like I'm cool as hell. Like
Mhm.
people are gonna be like, yeah, this is great. I'm great." And it just feels like there's too much of him in everything that's going on. And
Yeah.
so it's just sort of hard for me to enjoy it, I guess.
Right. I kind of feel the same. I was just so curious. I wasn't trying to ask that because I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan. But
it was
like,
just that was there.
yeah,
so.
I was
But
so
like,
curious to
do you know what
know.
I'm saying?
Right.
Where he's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
for sure.
it's like where you go, how can I shoehorn in this
Pun
long
intended.
monologue this guy has about this cool thing that I want to say? Like,
Right.
it's just like, dude,
It's a little up his own ass for sure.
yeah, take him out, put somebody with
Yep.
Down syndrome in, and then redo it. That's
Pulp
what I say.
Fiction would be Kill Bill. All those would be way better.
Dude, Kill Bill, directed by
That'd be awesome.
yeah, I actually feel like Kill Bill wasn't super brutal in that way because there wasn't like a lot of these like I don't know monologues where somebody's like Madonna's saying that like a virgin. It's like the first time, like she bones this guy, and it's like his dick's so big that it's like the first time she had sex. It's like that's the thing. Like I just I don't know. I like stony non sequitur shit. Okay. I do like like the Big Lebowski and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I just don't like it when I'm like, I can tell it's like this dude is just saying like, I'm cool.
Right.
I'm flexing on everybody right now
Right.
with my.
No.
It's like shut your ass up, you
Right.
big old.
He's a film school stud, so
Quentin or me?
Quentin Tarantino.
Okay. I
not
thought you
you.
were saying me. I
No,
was
not
like,
you.
oh,
Oh wait,
Quentin Tarantino.
are you a Quentin Tarantino fan?
me or Gavin?
Both of you.
No.
I'm okay. I'm off and on.
I like some of his
I like
movies,
some of his
but-
movies, but
yeah.
some of the stuff he says and the emphasis on feet is bizarre to me, but really weird.
He's a quirky guy to
Yeah.
say the least.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. I do like
He's
some of
a
his movies, but
fucker. He bones
for sure.
he certainly
For
does.
sure. He gets foot jobs for sure.
That makes me sick. No, I'm just kidding. I
That is
don't actually
disgusting.
care. I'm not here to kink shame. I don't give a
Nope.
shit.
Yeah.
No
You
reason to.
want a bunch of people rubbing their feet on your dick? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
do it. Just
If your name's Quentin Tarantino, you can get that whenever you want.
right.
He
probably.
did look, but you know what? You know what's crazy is in that movie From Dusk Till Dawn, when he turned into a vampire, he did look cool because they made his noggin like much bigger. His head was like way bigger. He looked all
Right.
exaggerated. I was all, oh, that's cool now. I like him now.
Yeah. I wonder if that was his direction or someone trying to.
He's
call him
all,
out for a
and
big
then
head.
he's all, but then make my noggin like mad big, okay? I'm gonna.
This is gonna be the coolest thing on the screen, by the way.
so
I'm gonna
Yeah,
be the
he's gonna
coolest
be
one.
like, and then I'm gonna be like, right? And then this guy, and then Danny Trejo, yeah, and then he throws some hot chili on me.
It's gonna be
I
so
don't know. I
cool.
just made that part of it. I don't know.
that sounded real.
It
It's
could-
not-
And I go,
could be real.
chili, no.
and then my head gets bigger.
So, how are you? Yeah, what's up? Anything else?
I
What's
wanted
going on?
to. So we do a segment every week that we call "What You Listening To," which is it's as simple as it sounds. We talk about what we've been like. We recommend an album or a song or something we've been listening to this past week, and then we share it with each other and kind of nerd out about music a little bit. That's kind of like our end to the show. So
Okay.
if you need a second to think about what you've been listening to, one of us can go ahead and go, and then we'll just go around the room and
Go around the
share
horn.
what
Well,
we're doing.
I've been listening to this. I like Sisters of Mercy, so I've been kind of listening to Sisters of Mercy lately.
What's a good? I never could really get into them. What's a good like album to like jump off on with them?
1 second, I'll tell you.
Oh no, take your time.
We take a while too.
Yeah, we
No,
as in Gavin.
we as in me, because I just listen to the same stuff all the
Right.
time.
I would say Floodland. Floodland is a good album.
Floodland. Okay.
I would also say First and Last and Always.
Okay.
Yeah, I like those. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I need to get into
Anything
them
you want
more.
me to keep going, or
No, you're good.
Yeah, unless you
Yeah.
want to.
Unless you want to. Unless you got more.
Unless you got something else you've been
I listen to
jamming a lot.
like that, like, you know, I don't know. I was listening to some fucking dungeon synth.
Nice.
Shit. Listen, you ever seen that stuff about dungeon synth? It's like I went down this rabbit hole. It was of just dungeon synth for a while, and I realized that what's fascinating about it is that every album that dungeon synth people make and put out is like acutely detailed to a specific vibe that they're trying to go after. And so I noticed that the more dungeon synth I was going into, one's like Toad, like music of the Toad gods, and then one's dinosaur style, Diplodocus dungeon synth, ancient prehistoric dungeon synth vibe, whatever.
Right.
And I just kept going. And I got into this grandma's cottage, and it was just like
Cottagecore.
this cottage. And it was just like it, and it's just like the dungeon synth. The idea is like when you're going to grandma's cottage and you make it to her forest abode, and then the music. And I was like, this is fucked and weird, man. And then like, so I just kind of kept going into it, and I was like, and it was so funny because it's just everything is so I don't, it's like in our world now with the internet, everything is mined and then broken down and then subgenred and then dissected and then pushed out and squeezed out and then another subset of this and that. And I was just like, dude, of course there's grandma's cottage based dungeon synth in this world. You know, it's like everything, like nothing, anything you think is fucking weird and obtuse or non sequitur or bizarre is gonna happen. And
it's out there. Anything you want is out there, including grandma's cottage
dungeon synth.
Dungeon synth.
I like it.
Are
That's
those meant?
awesome.
Just a question: are like those meant for like D&D like campaigns? Do people play that as like ambient music?
Yeah. Background, like music, but also just to listen to. It's like, I think the thing is that when I was having some pretty intensive emotional breakdowns, and like I was deep in a place of avoidance and isolation inside of myself, like during the pandemic towards the end, I would listen to like dark wave, synth wave.
Oh yeah.
I
got deep into that too. And that's
like
something
Perturbator and like all this shit, or like just 80s dark synth, synth run and all this shit. And and I was like, it's interesting because it's like I'm not feeling that much. I'm liking this because it makes me feel like I'm kind of in a movie or a video game.
Especially when you're driving, by the way. I will say that
is
is like really cool.
it's also cool because I don't have to listen to like anybody singing, and it's just sort of like endlessly going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, it sounds like a soundtrack to my like disassociation or
Yeah.
something, you know.
Yep.
Anyway, so then Dungeon Synth is also sort of like that, but it's less cinematic in a way. It's like more like, you know, but I love it, man. Shout out Dungeon Synth.
I'm gonna have to get on that.
Yeah. I
Get on my
mean,
Dungeon Synth.
it's Aphex Twin for you. You know, just
Right.
put that on like Aphex Twin. You know?
Yeah, kind of. Probably a little less
Apex
complicated.
Twin. But I like, you know, I mean, I think that I have an appreciation for shit and I like stuff, but like I need it to kind of have like almost like a fucking upbeat party vibe or something. Like if I listen to metal, I need to listen to Red Fang or
Oh yeah. Yep.
I don't know, like uh Judas Priest or Van Halen or something. Like I want, you know, or Soundgarden or something, like something that's like wailing, like ruling super hard, you
Right.
know. And I don't know. But I also like goofy ass shit, you know,
Like Dungeon Synth.
Dungeon Synth. But I'll still listen to like Faith No More and stuff. I like that uh Dead Cross. I like that Dead Cross right now. It's pretty cool, like Mike Patton stuff.
Okay. What
I
about
don't know.
Are you getting hardcore at all? Any hardcore stuff?
No, what's that? Like that's like Black Flag or something?
Yeah. I mean,
Like my friends, my buddies in Zulu.
Yep.
I like
Yeah.
Zulu.
Zulu's
Like
great.
Zulu. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
Zulu.
cool. I mean, I don't know, like I don't like a lot of yelling and shit, but I do like it when it's I think I think honestly, I don't mind the yelling. I don't mind metal and stuff, but I think that there's just been just such an inundation and a saturation of maleness and toxic masculinity and masculinity the way it's, you know, homogenized in our culture, in metal, in music, in everything really.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I'm tired of violence. I'm tired of male anger.
Yep.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it in me. I'm tired of it in other men. I'm tired of it in music. I don't care about Pantera got back together.
Nope.
That shit's swag.
Right.
So I just feel like, dude, I want to fucking I like joyful shit. I like transgressive acts of joy. I like, you know, RuPaul's Drag Race and shit.
Right. Yeah.
I like fun shit. I want chaos and that's safe chaos for people.
I definitely agree. I still do. I yelling music is my kind of music, but as like what you said, you know, the male dominated whatever is garbage. That's why I like Zulu a lot. There's a band called Dying Wish that their front man is a woman. See You Space Cowboy, their front person is transgender, like stuff like that. Like I love that stuff because it's like you said, it's not that stupid male garbage.
It feels like it's maybe not coming from a place that you could, it's like I could get behind this, you know. It's like I would go listen to some metal and shit. I'm like, it's almost like these are reflections of ourselves, you know, like the things that we like. And I was mad and angry and posturing and in metal bands and stuff and wailing and ripping and singing and screaming and trying to hide my fear with acting tough.
Yeah.
And like and so like when I see it now, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a version of myself that I don't really I don't that I'm glad I'm not anymore. I'm not like this. I'm not into this, you know.
Right.
I mean, I was really, but like a band like I listened to when I was like kind of angry and stuff that I still like is like shit like Ministry.
Okay,
I like
yeah.
because it doesn't sound like I'm gonna fucking beat your ass.
Right.
It's just sort of like you know, he's like the government,
right.
you know. And so I just, you know, I like that kind of.
Yeah,
I
Ministry's
like
dope.
yeah, Ministry. I like that kind of rhythm. That kind of it's good for riding your bicycle, shit like that.
Right.
Sports.
That's cool.
I don't know. Stuff like that. You like AFI, I see.
Yeah, I'm not a huge AFI fan, but I do like them a lot.
Davey Havoc would come to my art shows sometimes.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, in San Francisco. And
That's
I'd be
so
like,
cool.
bye, Davey. He'd be out, bye, Skinner.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I was like, bye. But yeah, I don't know. It was like, yeah, it's my big that's a name drop I could do, I guess. Davey Havoc.
I'll take name drops all day. You name dropped iDubbbz out of nowhere. I was not ready for that one
name
at all.
drop. Yeah, weren't expecting that, huh?
No, not at all. I had no idea.
Dude, I'm excited about this to be on that shit. I think he's gonna keep doing it too because I love Dax. Like, I think Dax is a very special, cool person, and he's so unique. And he's so sweet, and you guys would all get along really good too. You'd all be a sweetie pie. You'd be a sweetie pie throuple.
Well,
but like I want him to keep doing that show, and I want him to be. I don't want him. You know what it is like sometimes I meet people and I'm like, I don't feel like I can protect you against the world in which I want to.
Yeah.
I feel like a very paternal instinct over people.
Right.
And so I met him. I'm like, oh man. And I was just like, how do I convince Ian, iDubbbz, how do I convince him to keep this show going so that this guy has like a job so that he doesn't have to go like sell ice cream or whatever to people who are like, what's wrong with you, fucking weirdo?
Right.
And but I think it's gonna be all right. I think it's gonna be okay. That's part of my therapy too, is just letting go, let go, and let God, boys.
Yep. Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah, and so the more I'm letting go, and I don't have the anxiety. And who was it? Terrence McKenna. Are you familiar with Terrence McKenna, the mushroom druggy philosopher guy? He goes,
off the top of my head,
everybody has these conspiracy theories. See, that's his voice. That's how he sounds. People think that there are people conspiring against them. But what if there are people conspiring for you?
Sounds like Yoda.
Dude,
Yoda.
he was an
ethnobotanist, according to Google.
Oh,
yeah, he took mushrooms. That's what that means.
that's what it says. Naturally occurring psychedelic plants.
Right.
But I love him. He's like, what if they're conspiring on your behalf? So I don't know. I kind of think that's cool. And that's sort of like having faith is very difficult if you're a crumpled little man like me. But I think it's important to try to live with the idea that there's a possibility for something better, even if all the evidence points to it maybe not being true.
Right.
And that's called delusions.
Yep.
Boys and girls, you're delusional.
That's all it is. It's all a delusion.
Hey man, I'm living that delusional shit, bruh. Hey, I'm living. Hey,
that's what I'm on.
Peace, love, unity, rave out, baby.
Right.
But so what time is it there? It's really late. 8, 9, 10. It's 11 now for you.
Yeah. 10. So we'll fire off our music suggestions real quick and get out of here. What are you listening to, Gavin?
So this week, so just a little backstory. I went and saw The Eternal Daughter, which has Tilda Swinton in it.
Okay.
She plays an old person of herself, and like a young herself. She plays herself, not herself, but a character. And it's an A24 movie, and we went to go watch it at Plaza Frontenac. They have a theater there, and that was like the only theater in the area that they were playing it. And beforehand, we came in really early, and they were playing short films and like trivia and stuff like that was on screen. And my friend noticed that there was this band called Kiro Kiro Bonito, who sang the how many shrimps do you have to eat before you make your skin turn pink? Eat too much and you'll get sick. Shrimps are pretty rich. And it's like, that was like a TikTok song for a while.
Oh, I see.
Again, a lot of stuff that I recommend Skinner for a record is from TikTok or something related to it, but that's just the way the cookie
TikTok
crumbles.
A lot, huh?
I do, but so what I end up, so my friend was like, okay, I know what he's like, you probably know this song. So I knew what that song was. And they were playing a song another song on the trivia screen. And then he was like, I think you would really like Time and Place by Kira Kira Bonito. And I listened to it, and it's very much exactly the type of vibe that I was going for. There's a couple really strange points. It's very like really weird like overlay and like just horrible sounds get made on this album. But it's very like it's chaotic good. It's good.
Kind of what genre?
I think this one's more like alt or like indie pop kind of.
It's like synth pop?
No, just
Okay,
like
just
very
pop.
like indie pop.
Okay.
Just like, you know, it exists in its own area. She has a British accent, and I know that can be like that's kind of hard to listen to sometimes, but
That doesn't matter.
but some people like I don't know, like my friend was like she like her British accent comes out very much in these songs, and it's like
Okay.
it's kind of hard to listen to.
Can you give us a
sometimes,
sample?
but,
Sing it or play it.
yeah, no.
Just sing it. Sing it.
uh,
My daddy is playing with his balls.
I think I
He's playing
smell
with
the
his
rain
fucking
again.
balls.
I see the laser getting dewy. You know, like stuff.
I don't think that's British enough.
Very. No, I mean that's how she sounds. Though.
Oh,
She's
okay.
Yeah, she's very. She's good. She's really good. I enjoy her. She's they're from London, I think. So
Nice.
You
Yeah.
sound like you're from London.
yeah, you're
London.
you're a bit out of London, aren't you?
London.
Little bit of a London accent.
Well, I'm gonna be a little bit boring this week because so this month for December, I'm a big fan of Christmas music. I've always been
Big holiday guy.
Yeah, a big holiday guy.
Trans-Siberian Christmas,
Yeah,
dude.
well, I do like that. They're not my favorite, but I do like them. I like Mannheim Steamroller better. I'm more of a They're great. Right. But
Wait, how does that one go again? That song?
Boom, boom,
Wait, but
boom,
Mannheim Steamroller had like a hit.
they had a few, all Christmas songs. I think Trans-Siberian Orchestra was the same.
boom. Yeah.
Trans-Siberian
But, dude-
Orchestra is more like a rock opera style music, whereas like Mannheim
Mannheim
Steamroller was a little bit more like electronic synthy kind of
Yeah.
weird stuff.
Goofy
Yeah.
stuff.
But
I like this stuff.
yeah, so I've always been a big Christmas fan, and so throughout the month of December leading up to Christmas, I'm going to recommend Christmas music. And so this week I am recommending the Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack by the Vince Giardi Trio, I think is how you pronounce it. Really good just to put on in the background. I mean, it's all beautiful music, way ahead of its time. But that's what I've been listening to this week.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good album. If you're a Christmas guy, Skinner, I don't peg you to be a Christmas man, but I could be wrong.
Well, the best part of Christmas is making the children happy when you drop off the bicycles to
Aw.
them where they're at in the burn victims unit I'm just kidding.
Hey, you had me for a minute. I know you're a charitable guy.
No,
so-
but there
What
was,
did I say?
but it was a ritual that I would do.
Mm.
Where I would buy bicycles with Christy and then drop them off at the children's hospital
That's awesome.
for the kids. Yeah. It's been a couple years since I've done that. Maybe it's time to bring that back.
Yeah, that's an awesome thing to do. It's better than
you
what
just
I've
go
done.
find dude, it's not even that expensive. You just find like a tweaker who's got a bunch of bikes and then you just hey, how much for all of them?
Right, $10.
I'm just kidding, mate. I'm just kidding, mate.
Well, Skinner, this was an absolute pleasure having you on.
Yeah.
This was so much
was?
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Was it not for you? Did we fuck up?
Yeah, it was for me. Yeah, it was for me.
You could
I
tell me
like-
if it was bad. You
Yeah.
don't have to come back on again.
We're from the
kidding?
Midwest. We're
This
nothing.
was this was one of my favorites because I feel like
Oh,
I'm just
good.
getting to hang out with you guys. Like I don't feel like there's any pretense. I'm not trying
Right.
to sell anything. I'm not trying to. I think that's the thing is I want authentic connections, and
Yeah.
I don't want to. And I think that that's really hard to get in the podcast world because
Right.
everybody's cool.
Right.
Well, right, because like I mean, we're just two guys having fun and talking to fun people whenever we can. So
Yeah.
like we don't have any agenda. Like we'll write out like a questionnaire, more like interview style. That's more just for backup. We don't want to we don't want to
Yeah, we
keep
don't
it
want
like
that.
strict interview. We like, but because so I'm with you. Like I love that. Just two people hanging out or three people hanging
Yeah.
out and just having fun and just talking about
It
whatever.
was pretty cool. I wonder if people will find it to be cool or boring.
I hope they find it cool.
Yeah.
It's I like making the stuff. I like to consume. So I hope there's at least a few people out there like me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
And you make
I
cool
hope-
stuff, so you got that
Right.
going for you.
Thank you.
yeah, but seriously, thank you for coming on and doing this. We will definitely have to have you back on again sometime.
Of course,
to do
anytime.
this. And
It's
if,
been amazing getting to know you guys, and
Yeah.
I wish you the best. And I love my boys very deeply. So
We love you
go
too.
easy. All right.
we will
Make
see you
sure that
soon.
life is fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
if we're ever out in the area, we will let you know so we
Yeah.
can get together.
I haven't been, so I need to get
That's
out
true.
there.
Come out to Oakland, California, where I live.
We'll do it. We'll fly out tomorrow.
I'm going to an athletics game actually.
Yeah.
Take some time.
Yeah.
Take some time. Give me
That
some
sounds good.
lead up time.
All right.
So
if
do
you
you
say
want
so.
me to just log out and press leave on here, or do you?
If you want to.
Yeah, do whatever you need to.
If you feel like you can do it.
Close the
can.
laptop really, like, God damn it, and close the laptop really hard.
That sucked.
Yeah. Fuck, that was terrible.
Who did that to you?
No,
No,
nobody.
no.
Dick
We were
Burton
saying
did
you
it.
should do that.
Yeah,
to
you should do that
us.
to us.
All right, here we go. Fuck this, bro.
Ah, dang it.
Goodbye, bye.